Welcome to the LANCave. We're living as nerds. I'm Patrick, joined by Owen.
Hello.
Yeah.
Oh wait. There. I'm in frame.
There you go. You got to get that frame. We're here talking gaming news like we do. There we go. Yeah, adjust.
No.
There you go. We're here talking gaming news like we do every single week, giving you the news, what's important, what's cool, give you some context, give you some behind the scenes. We try to stick away from rumors. It's mostly like we're like, hey, this is happening, and this is why you should care. And we also try not to be too hyperbolic, but we make it a little hyperbolic today. And for those who don't know what that means we're going to go a little off the chain because we're aggravated about something. Yeah.
What do you, aside from the news, you got any vacation plans this year? You going anywhere in the near future? Because we're getting the shots are coming out.
Yeah, shots. I want to go on vacation. I have almost 180 vacation hours racked up.
Dude, same.
So I was going to say, I think you get a little bit more vacation time than I do. I'm
at like 185 right now.
So I've got 40 hours of sick, because we separate sick, which I'm happy, because that's how it shouldn't be. I shouldn't have to take away my vacation because I got sick. Working from home, obviously, you just kind of power through it sometimes. 52 hours of personal time. I don't have kids, so that's usually doctor's offices every now and then. And then almost 180 of vacation. I'm like, I want to take vacation.
What's the difference between personal and vacation?
So personal day / personal time is like, I got to bring my car in for new tires.
Need a mental health day.
Yeah, it's like, well, usually a personal day, it's like, I'm not taking a vacation, but maybe I'll take a half day here or half day there. That's usually the way that we throw them around, where it's like, I do need to get new tires on my Miata, so I'm gonna set that up and take like a half day, basically, drive over there in the morning, and that way it's not vacation, it's personal. A lot of people do it. It can be also flexible, where it's like, for, like I said, for doctor appointments or whatever. Yeah.
I just have two buckets. I have the sick bucket and the vacation bucket, and then it's all hours based, since I'm an hourly employee. Same. So I rack up the sick hours and I rack up the personal hours, and then sometimes it's kind of like, as long as you have hours in a certain bucket, then you could probably use them for the other one. Like one is like specifically for that, so mainly it's like sick hours is anytime, and I use the sick even whenever, like, it's my kid's sick. I just kind of lump it into the sick bucket, and then but I looked at my hours, and like I'm taking a vacation next week, and I took extra days on the back ends. That's the new thing. Yes. I don't know if you do this. So we leave on Saturday. Yeah. I'm taking a Friday. We come back Sunday. I took Monday. Yeah.
Yep. You have to recoup after your vacation. You have to. So someone said that to me. I was like, to me, it's not so much recouping. It's like getting back in the swing of things. Like, where, like, I'm done resting, but doing things like, oh shoot, I got to catch up on laundry, or I just really have to hit the grocery store at this point. It's ordering it, but like getting back into like the routine. Because if I've gone from vacation right into working, and I'm not focused at work, because I'm thinking about all the things that I have to do, and all the all this, and like, depending on how your vacation goes, maybe I didn't get any gaming in, maybe I didn't get any, like, a nap in there.
Right.
So
you got to get your groceries, you got to do some laundry maybe, but also it's just a thing. Like, once I started doing it, I felt a whole lot better than when I get back and immediately have to go to work the next day, and like, it's like that day is always just already like, like, you may be able to check your emails outside of work, but I can't. I have to be on the VPN, which I can't log in mobilely. I have to log in on my work computer to do so. Sure. And so I will log into a week's worth of emails, and that's already in. But what I'm surprised at, how much of a chore other things are. Just speaking of chores, is I have downloaded 97 Vita games in the past week.
I'm gonna be there with you. Going a little bit into the news. We talked about this last week. As a rumor, it's official. The Vita store, PS3 store, and PSP store, if you have PSP, are getting shut down. So we're kind of preparing. I'm going to be doing that. By the way, I got my converter as well. Owen and I are not promoting any type of copyright infringement or any type of emulation or anything like that. But I did get a little adapter so that way I can download all these games that I purchased, or a lot of the games that I purchased, and have them on my PS Vita, so I can still have them. It's converting an SD card to to the proprietary slot. So I'm excited about that. I have almost yeah. So I've got my PS3. By the way, is it still? It is still on. It's been downloading games like most of the day. Because this morning I woke up and I went through my list, and the store is so janky. We're going to talk about that, but like the download speeds are insanely slow. How is going on the Vita and buying games? Is it easy? Because I know they're like shutting down things. It's
slow. I mean, you can buy so here's what happened. So I was at 96 owned Vita games, and I can't have a number like that, right? I got to get to an even 100. So I bought one more. Actually, now I've bought two more. So I'm still up to 97. I was at 95. So I went and I was like, all right, I know I'm going to play Persona 4 someday, and I want to play it the way that everybody else did with Persona 4 Gold. And even though it's a PS2 game, Persona 4 Gold is like the way to play it. So I tried to buy it. Wouldn't take my purchase. So I was like, was something up with my PayPal, because PayPal wasn't an accepted form of payment on the Vita at some point. So didn't work. I try and log into the website on my computer. 3 different browsers. Yep. I try to add money to my wallet. You can go in and do a standard. By the way, I hate wallets that won't let you just pick the amount. So you can do a standard $25 into your wallet. So that's what I'm trying to drop in to cover like the $22 that the game is. Won't let me do it. Errors out every single time. 3 different browsers. I almost bought a gift card, but then I was like, you know what, Sony? F you. And then I just randomly decided to try again after my games were done downloading. So I was currently downloading stuff at the time. When I stopped downloading things, it took my purchase on the Vita and went through, and I was able to download the game. So that's the level of jank that we're dealing with. And I want to I might go over 100 games, but I want to spend more money. I'm looking like this is a thing where let's go over the official rules here. So PSP and PS3 stores will shut down on July 2nd. Vita's going to be on August 27th. For now, you can download your games if you've already bought them, and they're not putting an end date on this right now. So right now it's in perpetuity. They do say, though, on my little email, they're not saying this on all the news articles, but on my screenshot, the way I understood this, and you can tell me if you understood it differently, they said if you have a cross-buy game, you do need to download that on the Vita or PS3 or the PSP if you want it on there. Otherwise, you might lose that ability. You might have took that differently, but so I went ahead and downloaded all my cross-buy games, and then PS Plus games will also remain downloadable as long as you are subscribed. Go get your $28 PS Plus things. So you cannot buy any more. You can download some more. So, but I don't even want to chance that. If I'm buying something in the next until August, I'll probably buy more games. I'm going to download it right away. Yeah.
We've seen other systems where it happens like this, and people forget how recent these online stores are. So the PlayStation 2 store, if it existed at all, was nothing. There
wasn't a PlayStation 2 store.
I was just say there's barely an online. That's what I mean. Like there was
a 56K modem that you could plug in, like screw into the
for you to play that was it Final Fantasy 10?
11.
That's right. Why did I say 11? Yeah, Final Fantasy 11. I knew someone who was playing that like like a good amount. PS3 is the first one for Sony. There were online servers. That's what I'm thinking. It was the online servers for PlayStation Community and Xbox. So these are really recent things. Some of the some of the stores have been up since inception or as close to, but Nintendo has shut down theirs. Nintendo's going to shut down more, where it's like, hey, we're shutting down our store and you can't download the things that you purchase, which, by the way, I know you and I can go into tirades about this, but people do forget technically you purchase a license to use the software. Technically you don't own the software. However, I did buy that license. I would like to continue to use it, hence why I'm continuing to download. I've got some Ratchet and Clank. All the Sly Cooper games are downloading on there. I got a 500 gig on my PS3 downloading, and 500 gigs for a PS3 is not bad. Not bad. I got over 45, 50, almost 50 games on PS3, and it's still coming, still racking up. And I think I got like 6 or 7 PlayStation Classics. So.
And then Robert in the chat is also saying, if you have games on your consoles that you're not downloading fresh, make sure that you're updating them also, because that may go away too. So if you want the most up-to-date version on there. I don't have a PS3. I put a 256 card in my Vita at 97 games plus some other things on there in terms of PSP stuff. I'm at like 90 gigs out of that 256, so I'll probably be pretty good to go. Yeah. I was saying, if you're looking at cards and you're looking at getting a Vita right now, which, by the way, it's probably going to go nothing but up for the next couple of months, because there is still time to do this, make these purchases. And there's people where, like, I thought that I maybe owned 20, 30 Vita games. I own 97.
Yeah. PlayStation Plus, man. PlayStation Plus, there's a lot of cross-buy stuff on there, and a lot of stuff that they threw in for, I mean, I think I was a PlayStation Plus subscriber for like 3 years or 4 years, where they're giving 2 PS Vita games a month away. So it racks up.
I know we talked about this like a little bit with the rumor, but now that it's official, like, dude, Sony's got to do something, man. Like, I'm becoming increasingly disappointed with them right now, where, I mean, if you think about it, so don't talk to me about PS Now, by the way. I don't want to hear about PS Now, because you can't download anything that's not a PS4 game on PS Now. So if you want to do PS Now, you can't download a PS3 game. You can't download anything else. With these storefronts going away, we're talking PS1 classics are going away. I mean, I'm gonna go through and buy some more. I picked up Chrono Trigger. I picked up Tactics. I picked up.
Tactics. Yeah.
There's some PSP stuff on there as well. Like, I got God of War, Chains of Olympus, and a couple other things. I'm thinking about picking up the Metal Gear HD collection. That's not a PS1 or PS2 classic, but even though I have no interest in playing Metal Gear whatsoever, like, that, there's not an HD collection available on PS4 right now.
Nope. There's a PS3 disc, but yeah.
And you go look at Xbox, man. Like, I know that they don't have the full Xbox library, but they have games going back to the original Xbox. They have almost like what feels like the entire 360 library. Anything that you probably could think of on the 360 library, you can go buy right now. You can buy all your Xbox One games, and I can play every single one of these on my Series X. I don't know. What are you just asking people to pirate your stuff? Do you want and I can't even pirate PS3 games because the emulators are terrible.
The emulators are terrible. I've heard that they've gotten better, but I agree. I think part of it is they're not realizing how behind the market that they actually are in regards to how people game now. It's no longer it's like I said, it's no longer about like, oh, all we care about is the latest game. It's like people want to go back and play, people playing case in point. A lot of people are like think, oh, you got to play the recent games. I'm in a PS5 group on Facebook, and it's mostly toxic, but I will say that every now and then someone's like, I'm absolutely loving Days Gone, or some other game that came out like 5 years ago, and and this generation is showing like people want to bring their games with them, and people have been some of these people have been in the gaming ecosystem. PS3, I've had a PS3. I got it 3 years or so into launch. I'm trying to like do math in my head now. I've had a PlayStation in my house for 12 years now. 11 years. 11 years I've had a PlayStation in my house because I guess I had a PS2. Anyways, had the recent stuff in my house. I got the PS4 shortly after launch. I had the PS5 at launch. I want to bring these games with me in perpetuity. Like I don't want to have to be in this situation and have my ear to the ground when this situation comes up and say, oh shoot, let me make sure I rush and do this. I want to be able to, and Xbox, Microsoft have shown like we've got you covered. Anything of note, and there's hidden gems, sure, but anything of note that's good on the OG Xbox and Xbox 360, you can play backwards compatible. And anything of note is backwards compatible. If it's not, okay, sorry, it's a hidden gem or there's licensing. But honestly, this is what PlayStation should be doing, especially because a lot of these they don't have to worry about licensing for most of these. They have the licensing to handle it because most of it is tied to Sony and PlayStation, or most of the ones I'm thinking of off the top of my head.
Well, and when you think about it, like hopefully this isn't a problem moving forward with Sony or anybody else. We don't know where we're at in the console war, but PlayStation 4 is backwards compatible on PS5. Mm-hmm. Assuming we get to a PS6 in 5 or 10 years, we're going to assume that they're smart enough to now know that they need to drag those along because we are now completely in the online era. We know I don't go replay games. That's not what I do. Anybody who knows me knows I don't replay games, but literally there's tons of stuff that I own that I've never played. Yeah. And then there's also just discovery. There's history. There's discovery. I'll use this as an example, and I'm glad that I found a PSP version of it to put on. There's a game that was on the Genesis called Crusader of Sinti. You ever heard of this game?
It sounds familiar, but I'm not.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was Sega Genesis answer to The Legend of Zelda. Whenever Zelda was back out in the day, so it's a top-down sword-based game. I discovered it through the Gaming Historian on YouTube. Yeah. I just happened to click a video, and it was like, let's talk about the Crusader of Sinti, and I'd never heard of this game until 2 months ago. I was glad I was able to find it as a PSP copy of the game and download it that way. But like we're talking about, what if where are these people out where they discover stuff? There's new gamers every single day. I'm 33 years old, but we're talking there's tons of people who their first game was Fortnite, and that's fine. But what if they want to go back? What if there's stuff? Not everything holds up. You're not necessarily going to want to play everything in every generation. But you find out about something. You're like, what do I want to do? And you can't get it anymore unless you want to pirate it. And that's don't like pirating. I don't want to pirate. I want to give you money, and I want to download it in a way that I know works. That's the other thing that I don't like about ROMs generally, is that I don't know how well it's going to function, and I don't want to deal with it.
You don't want to have special settings for each game where you're like, oh, this one works better on this works better on that. Yeah, no, I completely agree. I want, and Sony, whenever PS6 whatever comes out, PS4 is going to come with it. I think that they've thought through that now. They're creating an architecture that allows them to carry forward. Microsoft just decided to pony up the money, lots of money, lots of devs, to make sure that whatever anything can work, either through an emulation or otherwise, and actually working better. The Xbox Series X is playing these games better than they were on the original. So we've gone from, like you mentioned, emulators for PS3 are terrible. But Sony, you know PS3 architecture. You could create a native PS3, which apparently there's a rumor that's happening, but they need to native emulator to be able to play these. Let me purchase PS3 games on my PS5. I'm gonna pay for it. I'm gonna buy them. A lot of people
There's games that I missed where people don't talk to me about PS now, but like I missed the original Resistance, right? And I know that it doesn't necessarily hold up, but like if you want to, even with PlayStation Now, you can't play Resistance 1 and 2. on PlayStation Now. Only Resistance 3, which makes 0 sense since Sony owns the IP.
Yep.
Why are all 3 of those not available? I can't. I played my first Infamous game was Infamous Second Son on PlayStation 4. Great game. I've never gotten to play Infamous 1 and 2. I've heard they're fantastic. I've heard Infamous 2 is amazing. Can't play it. There are things that I would love to go back where I've come into this universe whenever I came into PS4, and I missed an entire generation. I know the PlayStation 1 and 2 libraries, but I missed a lot with PS3 that I just can't access. And then another dirty move is that there were people developing games for the Vita, like not a lot.
Yep.
Not actively. There's one though. People know Colin Moriarty. He owns part of a game development company. They bought. I don't know if you saw this. They bought a Vita dev kit a month ago, and we're developing a game, and now they just have to cancel it.
So that sucks, but at the same time, okay, Colin is a hound for the Vita. Like, he absolutely loves the Vita. The Vita's been a dead console for like 2 years at this point.
Sure,
I mean,
but Sony still sold him the dev kit.
That's bonkers. See, that's the thing that's bonkers to me. And I'm sure that Colin is going back to them and going, and give me my money back.
You're gonna need to get your money back. But that's the part that I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the fact that he shilled for Vita forever, and I get it. And he's put out 2 Vita games in the last year, and one of them is actually really good with Hybroxia 2, which I talked about a few weeks ago. Yeah. But it's just the fact that Sony sold a dev kit. So we do have word though. Just if anybody cares, I'm gonna buy it just for the swan song. The very last Vita game to be and it's actually on Switch, I think, already. They're just bringing it to Vita.
Gotcha.
But I'm gonna buy it on Vita. It's called Scourgebringer, and it comes out April 22nd.
Nice.
So it's going to be available for 128 days on the Vita, should you so choose to get it.
Sad. That's just sad. And so this is on Xbox.
At least it's available elsewhere.
Sure. Yeah. It's on Xbox. It's on Switch, PlayStation. But for PS4, I should say. It's sad to launch something so close to when. Like I said, the Vita's been a dead console for I said 2 years. I think it's longer than that. It's been a dead console, and it's not like no, there's no Vita successor, but this would be like no, I'm not gonna say it because PlayStation 2 overlapped with PlayStation 3 for years and years and years, but games were still coming out on it. It wasn't a dead console. They just happened to have overlap. This has been dead, and people I don't know. I wouldn't be putting games on it. I wouldn't be putting my money and time into porting to a console that was dead. That's just me. But yeah, it's stupid that Sony sold them a dev kit for that.
I mean, they sold. I don't know how many. He doesn't talk about sales numbers, but both of their games that he's put on the Vita sold. Well, part of that's because he's Colin and can advertise a game like that, but. I mean, one of them was like, I definitely, if you're going to buy another Vita game, and it's again, this is a game that's out everywhere. So if you want to buy it somewhere else, but Hybroxia 2 is really good.
I may pick it up because, just to support
it's $10
like that. $10 is not bad. Yeah. And speaking of supporting, and on the positive side, we did get the place. I know we don't usually talk about this on the show. PlayStation Plus games just got announced for April, and I was really happy that Oddworld is on there as a free game. I'm probably going to give them money as well because I've always loved. This is one of those like special place in my heart kind of games. I loved the first Oddworld and on PlayStation 1, but I'm happy that they're putting this out for free so more people can try it out and maybe get the humor. I don't know if did you like the old Oddworld games or?
Never played one.
No.
I'll be checking this one out because it's on PS Plus. Honestly, I'm glad this game's coming out so that we don't have to see it at any more State of Plays.
Okay, touche. Yeah, I mean, I liked the idea. There's a lot of cool stuff like behind the scenes or whatever, but like there's some kind of weird comedy aspects and kind of some dark humor in it. But one of my favorite parts of from a development standpoint or whatever, they were trying to make a game where they were saying, well, what if you had a hero who he doesn't use a gun, he doesn't shoot, he doesn't he's just an average, if not below average being, How do you get through these levels and what? So it's not stealth. It's almost puzzly. From an aspect of like, okay, how do I get through this, and how do I do it with them, saving as many of my companions as possible, the other slaves, the other aliens that are part of your peoples, and the more that you get through in the other games, like it made things easier, like getting through a specific area, you needed to have a certain amount of them alive to get through like a certain passage or whatever. So it'll be interesting. I've been holding out for this for what, 4 years now. So
yeah, I feel like this game has been in development, and I know that it's coming. So I wanted to actually check. It's not necessarily coming to Game Pass. There is an Oddworld currently on Game Pass, so I expect it to come eventually. But that's the other thing, is like good for them getting that payday. You know, that you have your game in development for this long. I want to know what took them so long. Is it just like a super small team? Is this game have like some kind of mechanic in it that's really hard to work out?
I think it's a smaller team, smaller in financials. I don't know for certain, but I have a feeling they probably scrapped and rebuilt a few times, which is what happens when you get this far into game development. They start looking at like, okay, what's the next iteration? What's the next hardware going to look like? Obviously this doesn't look like a PS5 game because they've been developing it for so long, but I don't think it looks terrible. But it's definitely not groundbreaking in my opinion.
I mean, it's coming to PS4 also, so that's the other thing, is if you have a PS4, this and that's another thing with that even though Xbox has the same problem right now, like if you look at it, I don't know if you know this, but in terms of like Sony published games, so Oddworld isn't Sony published, but in terms of Sony published, how many games do you think are PS5 only?
PS5 only, Sony published
as of today. Two.
Okay, so
which two?
Hold on, I was guessing 3. Sony published. So Demon Souls.
Yeah.
And not Bug Snacks.
No. Astrobot.
Astrobot, of course. Yeah. What? Yeah.
It comes with a system. Those are the only two.
That's
PS5 only game.
That's crazy.
And again, like you can give Xbox that same crap, but in terms of Xbox, their storefront doesn't suck. Like they have Game Pass, which, to be fair, I actually was talking to somebody today who is new to the PlayStation ecosystem. Okay. Came in and said, this is after being an Xbox fan. He's like, dude, the PlayStation Plus collection that you get is amazing. Like, there's not a bad game in that bunch. And so it is a curated collection. So I do want to give them credit there. But as a person who's been playing PlayStation 4 for since 2013, in terms of where I'm at, I've been playing more Xbox recently, just because there's been more stuff that I have through Game Pass that it feels new to me, as opposed to Sony stuff. I don't want to keep ragging on Sony. Sony, I love you, I do, but it's you're having a weird 6 months.
Yeah, it's I can't believe it's been almost 6 months. I can't believe it's been almost 6 months. I've loved. Excuse me, and I'm on the other end of the spectrum. I've been playing Xbox as well, but I'm playing a ton of Demon Souls. Freudian slip there. I've been playing a lot of PS5 because of Demon Souls specifically. And
get that platinum.
By the way, just got that platinum. Was happy. They're recording, this is the other thing I absolutely love about PlayStation 5. It's just constantly recording.
So much easier to stream too.
It's easier to stream. Also, if I'm like, I don't want to stream it, but I want to archive. So have these moments, because whether or not you do a show like we do or what have you, if I'm playing something, I'm like, I want to save that. I want to save that. Being able to save your recent gameplay up to an hour is pretty darn awesome, as opposed to Xbox, which is, I want to say it was up to 10 minutes or something like that with the save. I'll have to double check the video for that. But it's basically just constant recording. Got my platinum on this. And I'm still not sick of the game or anything, but I definitely did get in there. My biggest annoyance with this, though, is Bluepoint. You still has not added deleting your characters to the game. So I have 10 Demon Souls characters, and I want to delete like 4 or 5 of them, and I can't delete them. So I have to remember which characters are which. I can't change their names afterwards. I have to remember which characters are which, what I'm doing with them. That's annoying. That's really annoying. You should be able to delete characters. So
yeah, I get that. That would annoy me.
on the other ones, it was like you'd go delete, and it was like, "Are you sure? Type in the word delete." I'm like, "Okay, I'll type just to make sure you don't accidentally delete your character." But yeah, it's been annoying. But
you just need to play by the rule, man. You got your platinum. That means delete the game, never play it ever again.
Is that what it means? Oh, this
Yeah.
is me cheesing a boss. By the way, if you go like just to the left, he's trying to hit me with ranged, but there's like a tree in front of me. So I just sit there and hit him with a bow repeatedly. Yeah, so I got the platinum. I did cheese like a quarter of the bosses. I either cheesed or were extremely easy. But yeah, it's fun. I'm helping some people through actually that PS5 community and other ones where people are like, "Oh, this game's too hard." I'm like, "All right, hit me up with questions. Like, what do you like?" Trying to help people out because it's a fun game. If it's something, it's definitely not your thing, but it's good. You don't want to have that blood pressure raising while you play games usually, right?
No, I mean it's more just I'm not good at them. Yeah. I mean that's what it really like. I don't like games I don't like games generally where the object is for you to die. I understand that that's what happens in all video games, but people who know what I mean, where there's not much to it for me. Yeah. But I'm waiting for the patch. They have not announced one. I do have Bloodborne downloaded on my PS5 on my external hard drive because I downloaded like all my PS4 games. When and if they do the 60K, the 60 FPS patch on it, I will try it. I will almost immediately stop playing it, but I've heard too many good things about Bloodborne to not try it, but I'm not going to play it at 30 FPS when every other one of the Souls games is at 60. And it's the only reason I have Bloodborne, by the way. They gave it away for PS Plus, so I didn't buy any of these.
And I love Bloodborne. I love Bloodborne for the lore, for the environment. It's actually not my favorite in regards to gameplay. Some people absolutely love the gameplay on it.
Sell it.
I'm just saying. So then when you quit, then you can go, oh, okay, well, I'm not missing out. Like I said, I love the environment, and the further you get into the environment and the lore, the more messed up you realize everything is. I can say this without spoiling anything because the Souls games, all of the Souls.
How old is this game at this point?
Okay, well, what I mean is, like, even if it was a new game and I told you this, it wouldn't hurt your enjoyment of the game because they don't they don't spoon feed you plot. There's hardly any cinematics. You hear people talk. You piece things together yourself. Bloodborne is very like Lovecraftian. There's weird stuff going on. There's weird stuff you can't see going on until like you get more of what they refer to as insight. The more insight that you have, the more you realize there's like these giant like what's it called, cosmic horror like beings that are like hanging out, like crawling around buildings and stuff that you can't see, and like 1 or 2 areas where they can hurt you, even though you're like, wait, how did I die? It's not very prevalent, but with the more insight you have, the more you realize how messed up the world is, and also there's just weird. It's not horror, but it is a little, kind of classic horror and Lovecraft kind of mixed together. I really love that aspect of it. The gameplay, I think Demon Souls and Dark Souls are better, but you get a gun in that game, so
who doesn't like a gun?
Yeah, there's an upside to it.
I'm Texan.
Yeah,
that's how that goes.
It's how you celebrate 4th of July and birthdays and Christmas.
But you know what you could use a gun for?
What's that?
You could kill Mario with it.
Oh, Mario dying. So this is something we mentioned on the show before, but I didn't think the internet would take this the way the internet took this. and I love it.
You doubted the internet, dude?
Well, it's not that I doubt it. It's just a question of like, what direction is this going to go in a direction? What direction is this going to go? What we're talking about here is March 31st. That is today. If you're watching live, you still have time. If you're listening to this on the podcast tomorrow or watching on YouTube, I'm sorry. This is the last chance to get the Mario All Stars on your digital. If you want to get it on your Switch. I don't have it digitally. I have the physical. And then what is the other? Super Mario 35th, right? Is the other? There aren't any others leaving, are there? I think it's just the two.
And so Super Mario 35, the 3D collection.
Yep.
And
that's what I meant. Yeah. So I have the 3D collection on physical. I thought about getting it digitally just because it's convenient at this point, but at the same time, I don't know if I want to shell out the money for a digital copy as well. But that's going off the store. We knew about it. It was announced from the beginning, but the internet is now jokingly referring to this as the day, or I guess the end of today, is when Nintendo will execute Mario. And I love some of these. Mario is missing over here. Nintendo with the guillotine, and then you can now play as Luigi.
It's Luigi's time, bro. So honestly, though, even though I think it's absolutely dumb that they're getting rid of the ability, like Mario 35, I get that they I mean, they announced that both of these games would be temporary, but why are you getting rid of the 3D collection? That makes zero sense to me, other than you're going to drive up the used market, and you literally are doing like a FOMO thing where if you have zero interest in playing this, you have to pay them $60 right now and add it to your digital store. I bought it on day one, so I already own it. But
I think I think we're going to see these packaged elsewhere. This is going to happen. Give it. I wouldn't think it's going to be later this year. I would think it's going to be a little bit longer. Plus, I'm hoping for some Zelda stuff towards the end of the year.
That's why I'm literally. I mean, no, not towards the end of the year. It should happen tomorrow. Like, this is Zelda's year,
no,
and
Mario's
thing supposedly got pushed back. I don't care.
But tomorrow's April Fool's. If they say something tomorrow, I'm not going to believe it. Come on.
April Fool's is canceled. There's a pandemic going on.
There's a pandemic.
If you guys do pull some stupid ish for April Fool's during a pandemic, I don't want to hear it. You get out of my face.
I hate April Fool's.
I can't stand it. I hate it for like the fact, because really the only way that it affects me is video game related, and that's where I don't know if you saw this, but Kotaku already got. They had to admit on Twitter that they reported something that was false. Let me see if I can find.
Someone already caught them. See that? Yeah, and then so speaking of that,
but they reported that they're journalists.
Yeah, see that's where.
Halo Infinite delayed 2022. They reported that Halo Infinite got delayed to 2022, and they had to repeal it.
Though? Is that? I mean, come on, that's believable.
I mean, it doesn't matter. It's still like
I agree.
Thing of
journalistic integrity.
It's journalistic stupidity. Like, what are you guys doing?
No, I agree. No, I think that from a journalist perspective, which obviously it's 2021, journalism doesn't exist the way that it should exist anymore. The fact that everything's about clickbait, everything's about how many clicks can I get. It's ridiculous. So case in point, and sorry, I was going to say all about clicks. Anything, any news article. If I bring up my phone, I say news article. People wanting to talk about anything comic book related, those are the worst ones in my opinion, are Marvel news, DC news, anything like that. It's like there's 4 or 5 stories per week brought up about Winter Soldier. And they also, or they'll talk about something where they're like, hey, check out so-and-so suits up as Wolverine, in this promo, in this photo. And I'm like, oh, cool. Is it a like a cosplay? Like it's a celebrity actor that cosplayed as Wolverine or whatever? No, it's some artist rendition of what they would look like as the character. I'm like, no. Don't say so-and-so suits up for this, because what that means is they put the suit on. You say, here's a concept photo. Cool. Concept photo, concept trailer. Oh, okay, this isn't a real trailer for Justice League 2, which I don't think is ever going to happen. Snyder, I want it to happen, but I don't think it's going to happen. Like the day after Snyder, people were throwing out a Justice League 2 Snyder cut, Zack Snyder Justice League 2 teaser, and it didn't say concept anywhere. And then people are like, "Oh, I can't believe they're doing it the Snyderverse." I'm like, no, that's fake. That's from this movie. That's from this movie. Anyways,
they're really not.
Yeah.
I'll say about the Snyder Cut, and the same thing with like Winter Soldier. I'm glad that it's out, but yeah, it's going to be awful until the Winter Soldier season's over, and then I don't know what comes out after Winter Soldier. I think Loki is next, and that's going to be awful. Like there's just things where.
And then Hawkeye,
and you can't unfollow them either because you want to. Yeah, I have to. I don't have to. I do a podcast though, so I need to stay up on the video games. And so I can't unfollow an IGN.
Yeah, I mean, and a company like that. I mean, IGN's big enough, or possibly big enough to do it, but most companies aren't big enough where they can say, okay, well, I'm going to create a division just for games. I'm going to create a division just for movies or whatever. So they lump it all together. So if you're following, you get all of it. Yeah, I agree. We did get some bad news coming out other than Mario. Some other bad news in CD Projekt Red. I'm not really worried about this. However. CD Projekt Red said they have scrapped the plans for the multiplayer aspect, of Cyberpunk. I'm sure people wanted this. I'm really sure.
I didn't even know there was a multiplayer.
I didn't think that was part of the plan. But yeah,
Did you know that there was going to be a Cyberpunk multiplayer?
I didn't. I didn't know there was going to be a Cyberpunk multiplayer. I guess when I saw that, I was like, huh. That makes sense that they were trying to do it, but it makes no sense to do it. I feel like that this was a decision that CD Projekt Red did because they're like, well, people like multiplayer, so let's do multiplayer. Red Dead Redemption has multiplayer. Grand Theft Auto has multiplayer. Let's give our game multiplayer. You don't need it. Fallout 76 is a great example. You don't need multiplayer. You don't. Not for these.
Even though apparently that game's decent now.
3 years on? I mean, it took them long enough. I think I'm going to try it, but at the same time,
Game Pass, baby.
Yeah, I was going to say it's on Game Pass. The only time I don't need a perpetual world like that. Like I have been curious about this. There's a modded version of Fallout New Vegas that you can do multiplayer. And I was like, that's cool, because then if I'm playing my game, it's almost like Diablo rules, where it's like I can play my game, and then I can go into your game, or I guess Borderlands would be a better example of that, where you and I could play, but we don't have to play like in a perpetual open world that we both exist in. Like I can warp to you, you can warp to me, but I can play alone if I want to. And Fallout 76 is like, when it came out, it was like, nope, you're going to play with other people, and there are going to be no other people other than you and these other players. So I don't know. Like I didn't even realize they were going to be doing something like this. But like I said, it doesn't make sense to me. The amount of time to put into something like this, it doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't work like Grand Theft Auto. It's too story driven.
I mean, it's more just. I mean, it's possible. I mean, if you play Grand Theft Auto, I mean, while it fits in Grand Theft Auto, there's a fantastic story to Grand Theft Auto 5. It's a great one-player game. I played it almost exclusively one player. I played online for about 5 minutes. So it can be done. It's just they're not equipped for it. Obviously, they can't even get their game like running right now. I mean, I know the hacked part wasn't their problem, but so honestly, I didn't even know they were doing it, but they said that they're still going to be working on it. So that just makes me think that we're going to see something in The Witcher. And I just don't know. I don't know what you do. I don't know what your thing is. Like, is there just going to be a whole bunch of Witchers and there's side quests and stuff that you guys can do? Like, whatever. I mean, I only included this announcement just because it's Cyberpunk, and so you got to throw it out there. But whenever you're playing this game, like this game doesn't scream multiplayer to me. And so Cyberpunk, though, I guess it could be like, I could see in terms of a like if you have you ever seen on Twitch with the Grand Theft Auto RP community?
No, I haven't. I mean, I've played a little bit online, but no, I haven't seen the RP community on there.
So there's a mod for Grand Theft Auto where you can literally like you can have a job. You start out as like just a dude in the city, and like you can go be a tow truck driver, you can be a cop, you can be a doctor or whatever, and you actually like role play like that job inside of Grand Theft Auto. I could see something like that in the Witcherverse, and I could definitely see something like that, but that wouldn't be. I highly doubt that would be CD Projekt doing that. That was the modding community that did that for Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, no, that man, that actually sounds really cool. Like, it's not something that,
it's intense.
I was to say like it's not definitely not for everybody, but I will say that like one of my favorite MMOs that I played, it was Star Wars Galaxies, and in Star Wars Galaxies, like you you know your jobs, if you will, or your role in the universe. You're not the the most amazing savior who comes in and like wins whatever. You're not the Mary Sue. You're not a big part of the narrative of the world. You're just part of what's happening in Star Wars, which I think is kind of cool. You don't have to be the hero. You don't have to be Luke Skywalker. It's just as interesting to be part of one of the stormtroopers or whatever on a battle, one of the rebels on a battle, whatever. And there were people who had jobs where it's like, oh, their job is a medic, their job is an entertainer, their bartender, or whatever. Like, and people would do that and like hang out and like chat with people. And yeah, it was really fun and really cool. Like I said, you don't have to. I think that there's a lot of instant gratification right now where people just want to go out and just want to do something ridiculous. And I guess games like Cyberpunk has the ridiculous stuff. Grand Theft Auto has the ridiculous stuff. But that's cool that there's a community out there that's doing something simple like that. Because I remember, what is it, Grand Theft Auto 3 or Vice City? Actually, I think it was 3. If you got into a police car, like you could, or what was it, a cab, you could start picking up people as a fare, which I thought was like the craziest, coolest thing. And I did it because why not? Like, steal a cab.
So like I see everybody start in you should go watch it sometime. It's pretty entertaining. Like if you watch Ammunition does it, or at least she used to a lot, and then just go look up Grand Theft Auto, and pretty much everybody who's playing Grand Theft Auto, they're playing the RP on Twitch. Like I think most people like start out as like a tow truck driver or something similar.
That's cool.
And so they're literally just like picking up cars and bringing them back, or like they'll work at the shop. It's pretty interesting. I could see that. It's just I don't see CD Projekt Red doing that. I don't see that was their component. And maybe it was, and if it was, then sad. But otherwise, I was like, I'm not going to miss your whatever multiplayer idea you probably had.
I mean, the only thing I can think of was they were trying to do something like Grand Theft Auto, because I can't think of anything else. Like Grand Theft Auto Online, where you have the open world aspect, and then you can have certain missions where you can team up and run missions with some friends. I don't think that this world lends itself quite as well. Maybe it's the first person shooter aspect. I don't know. Like the grandiosity of like doing a 4-person heist in Grand Theft Auto, which heists weren't a thing at the very beginning either. They had to build up to it. When I think of Grand Theft Auto Online, I think of things like that. I mean, I know the Grand Theft Auto like starter stuff, you are doing very low level like missions and stuff, but the heists are where it's at. So maybe that's what they were like building up to. I don't know, but yeah, like you said, The Witcher would be a better environment for it, in my opinion. But
but we are. I don't know how much you want to talk about Hyrule Warriors, because we're at the very end of March, and so that does mean that we are moving into April for our 12 for 12, our Ex Libris games. I did go ahead, since I'm going on vacation. I started my April game yesterday with Into the Deep, Song of the Deep. Yeah, Song of the Deep, Insomniac's Metroidvania. Song of the Deep, I started that last night. I played Obra Dinn for March, and you played Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity.
I did. So this one, by the way, broke the rules in playing it. But yeah, Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. This is the Dynasty Warriors style Zelda, which I own the first Hyrule Warriors. When it came out on Switch, I grabbed it because I didn't get it on Wii U, and I was like, I'm going to play this, and I never did. But the pairing of that style with an actual tie-in to the Zelda Breath of the Wild, I was like, okay, I've got to try it out. I really like it. It's not the same. It's definitely not the same, but it is so part of the same world. The items that you get to do upgrades, the enemies that you fight, like everything is part of the world, and you get little cinematics. Which, of course, yes, it's 2021. You can go on YouTube and pull up all the cinematics if Nintendo hasn't taken them down. But the gameplay is really good. It's just very different, but it's really good. And within like the first 10 minutes, like I was playing as Zelda. I was finally playing a game as Princess Zelda. So many other characters that you get to play in it. But yeah, I've really liked it. I've liked the story. I've liked the kind of building on this version, this world for the Zelda universe. I'm really enjoying it. I've put a couple hours into it. I'm not gonna I haven't beaten it, but I put a couple hours into it, and it's one of those games like I'm happy, like playing it. I'm happy. I want to play the next mission. I want to keep going with it. Where there's
important question.
Yeah,
is Linkle in it?
Not that I've seen. I think Linkle's in the other.
She's in the other one. That's why. Yeah, that's the only reason I asked.
Yeah,
she has crossbows.
Yeah. So Karen in the comments saying, "How is it playing the game knowing you ultimately lose the battle?" Oh, I'm not thinking about that. I'm like, okay, that's story. Plus, I play games for the story. I mean, gameplay is obviously important because it's gaming. But if it tells a good story and I happen to lose, that's okay. What was the journey like? I mean, I watch horror movies.
You don't know. You don't know about this game, do you? In terms of the lore,
and
you
in terms of
you didn't look it up. Oh, okay,
no,
cool. I'm not.
No,
I won't tell you.
I'm just thinking about like, okay, playing through Breath of the Wild, and thinking about like, oh, okay, well, I know what happened there, so I assumed Link lost, saved by Princess Zelda and her magic, and then he's put in his little icebox for 100 years. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know more about it other than that.
If you don't plan on finishing it, I do recommend you look it up.
Yeah, no, I'm probably going to finish it just because of the additional story and lore, because it is canon. So being like knowing that it's filling in so much of Breath of the Wild for me, because Breath of the Wild is amazing, and we're gonna get Breath of the Wild 2. And not that I want Nintendo to just commit and say, okay, this is definitively what Zelda is. It's nice that we're sticking with this universe and fleshing it out longer, because we haven't been in a world like this for this many games, to my knowledge. I'd have to check the Zelda timeline, but the only one that I can think of was Ocarina and Majora's Mask. But other than that, they bounce around quite a bit. So it's kind of nice to see, to see that extrapolate. Like I said, we get to dig into it a little bit more. No, Karen, I didn't take it as a bad thing on there. No, I think a lot of people want to win. They want to see the hero win. They want to see there's of course the classic misogyny of like, oh, the guy gets the girl and whatever. It's like, things don't work out that way. That's not how stories are. I was just thinking about like two of my favorite horror movies. Like I was talking to a coworker about it because she recently got into horror movies, and she watched Saw for the first time, and I don't think I know you're familiar with it, but
first one,
and
the second one.
Okay, so she watched the first one, and then afterwards,
love the first one.
Spoilers for a game for a movie that's 14 years old at this point.
First one's amazing.
Yeah, so she finished it, and she's like, she'd never seen it, she didn't know about it, and she was like, everyone died. Like the only person who lived was Dr. Gordon. And he sawed off his foot, and the killer lives. Everyone dies. The police that you think are going to catch the killer die. I'm like, yeah, that's what happened. Like, you, even in horror movies, people like expect there to be some type of good ending, and evil loses and good prevails. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. It's just how it works. And we know, at least to an extent, we know with Breath of the Wild that Ganon was still around when you come back. So this taking place 100 years prior, we know that Ganon's going to have to win in one way or another. But like I said, I'm loving the game. The gameplay is a little different, and I wish there was a little bit more open world like roaming, because it's basically like, oh, you're done with that mission, choose your next mission that you want to do, and then you can roam around in that mission, but you can't just free roam around like Breath of the Wild. So that's one of the, when you're in playing a mission, you can gather resources. So you can grind out the same mission repeatedly to get resources if you want. The free roaming's not there, but at the same time, if they put free roaming into it, I think it would ruin the dynamics of the game. It's better to be like, oh, we're on this skirmish, we're doing this battle, as opposed to I'm running around and I'm able to kill everybody, like kill all the moblins, just running around. That doesn't make sense. So like I said, it works for this version, and maybe it does happen later on where you get to free roam. If you do get to free roam, if it does happen, I hope that it would be like some type of event system going on. But I'm loving it.
I doubt it, just based on the game style that you'll get to free roam at all.
I think you just select your mission, you select your battle or skirmish or what have you, and you go from there. Like I said, I'm liking it. It's got replay. I've replayed some of the missions that I was enjoying, or replayed them because I thought, oh, I'll get a little bit more resources. But yeah, I'm having fun with it. I'm gonna beat it. It's definitely. I don't know how you feel about the play style. I like it though. It's Zelda without a lot of the puzzles and exploration that is part of Breath of the Wild. So it's kind of sad that that's not there, but it's good though. I would say I am not disappointed at all, and it's making me more excited about Breath of the Wild 2 when it eventually comes out, and I'll be able to I'll know a little bit more about the world than I did before. Not that I have to be an expert, but it's nice to know the context of all this stuff. So.
Yeah, I still shockingly haven't bought it, even though it is a Zelda game. But yeah. It was, even though I've heard it's better, I really didn't like the first Hyrule Warriors. It just wasn't fun. And so the fact that this one actually at least has what seems to be at least a slightly thought out story, that's probably the thing that I will get to it. I just haven't picked up my Switch. I played very briefly 3D All-Stars, and then I played Super Mario, the new Super Mario 3D, or what, I don't even know which one it is. I can't think of all the titles.
Bowser's Fury thing. Yeah, I need to pick that up.
I played that with the wife, and we couch co-op that.
Nice.
And then I'm going to play Pokemon Snap next month.
Oh, yeah.
But aside from that, the second that I'm beating those games, I'm putting them down and going back to my 4K consoles, because I was going to say,
between that and this has been the reason I haven't played as much Switch, because I can now play from those 4K consoles, or I can grab this, play on the couch or whatever. I agree. It's... Yeah, even docked. I'm gonna play, the next Zelda.
I just want to play the thing that looks better.
Yeah, of course. Which
and so if we're gonna get that Switch 2, then that'll be hopefully a thing where, hopefully they patch some of these games. Hopefully Breath of the Wild gets patched to 4K. So. Just because if anybody who's seen the 4K mod of Breath of the Wild on where basically, because it's not a Switch mod, it's a Wii U emulator that they then up-res to 4K. It looks great, and you can even do things like play as Linkle in it, and they've done a full-on character model into the game. It looks but it's gorgeous. A game like Breath of the Wild should be played at 4K, as well as Mario Odyssey and so on. So hopefully that comes. And so it's just a thing where it came out, and then it came out right when PS5 and Series X came out, and I just have very little desire to play on my Switch right now when I just have these other games just running so great. But
so pretty.
I say all that, and my March game was Obra Dinn.
Yeah.
The return of the Obra Dinn in its 1 pixel color style, where
I say monochrome. I mean, I guess it's one color, and then it's just darker or lighter versions of that color. Part of me wants to say it's like bicolor or something like that, because technically you have black and white or what have you. But are you doing I know we talked about that a couple weeks ago. Are you doing like a further review of that, or?
Well, so I did play it, and I streamed about an hour of it on our YouTube channel. I wanted to actually find like what was the official thing for their monochrome. The game's played in first. I want to know like the thing about the color is what it is. So you have the option also. They have these monitor modes where you can play it in Apple II. You can play it in
so cool.
Like think of any old computer, and you can play it where they basically have emulated that monitor to play the game. So for anybody who doesn't know what this game is, it's made by. I think it's made by one person. His name's Lucas Pope. He's the person who made Papers, Please, if you've ever heard of that game, which my wife loved playing that game. I don't know, loved is a weird word for a game like Papers, Please, but this boat appears as if from nowhere. It's like a ghost ship situation where the boat came along and you're investigating this boat. It's using a quote-unquote 1-bit monochromatic graphical style inspired by games on the early Macintosh computers. That's their official wording there. What you're doing is you're trying to figure out what happened to the boat. So the boat disappeared a long time ago and then just suddenly reappeared. Everybody's dead on this boat, and you have this compass that allows you to see the events of their deaths, but you don't know anybody's name other than like the captain. And what the whole point of the game is to piece together who killed who, what happened to who. Did a monster kill it? Did they fall off the boat? Did they drown? Did they get shot? You're trying to piece it all together by reliving the events through this thing. I enjoyed what he was trying to do.
Okay.
I'm not gonna finish it because I played it for 2 hours and I didn't piece together one complete thought. So you get this journal. Yeah, like I got pieces, I got names, and I got different scenes where I didn't get the like exact thing right. So like I got that the captain shot somebody, but I didn't ever find out the name of the guy that the captain shot.
Okay.
You're trying to basically fill out the what do they call the roster on a ship? I think it has like a name.
Yeah, I know you're
dossier or something. Yeah, I don't know, but you're trying to fill out the roster basically and find out who did. It's a whodunit situation of like who did what to who and why is the boat empty, and you're kind of piecing that together. So I played it for 2 hours and I got each thing I think has like 3 pieces. So basically like who did what to who with what, and I got a bunch of 2s and no 3s, and it was just a thing where it's like I get that I can keep playing it and that it's fun for people who want to piece that story together. It just wasn't for me. I really loved the art style. The art style's great. The way that he managed to do that is great, and I'm sure that a lot of people would love this game. But I didn't want to. I needed you to at least give me one little breadcrumb where I get one right early to kind of give me a feel for what that feels like.
Yeah, or like some intrigue where it's like, okay, he shot him. Okay, but like, is there like a piece of that story, a piece of that like information that makes you go, wait, why did that happen? Like, like he hit him with the rubber chicken. Whoa, like, or that kind of like not rubber chicken, but like that's too comedic. But like someone saying something about like someone throwing chickens overboard. You're like, whoa, wait a minute. Why did he start doing that? Like, and then you start like figuring out like there has to be some carrots in there that like keep you, the carrot and stick kind of situation. but like also like you've got to keep me interested. Like
there's definitely some carrots in there. It's just
Yeah.
more like I got tired of not hearing anybody's names. It was just a thing of like, can you just give me one name that I can be like, okay, you killed that guy, cool.
Yeah.
Like
Or
I want
like
to see, I want to see that.
Yeah, clues as to like, you know, as to who people are.
It's all clues. It's just you have to literally just piece a bunch of them together, and it keeps track of a bunch of things for you. It was just like, I don't know if I was just dumb or what, and just didn't piece together like one complete thought. It'll be. I don't. Again, I'm probably not ever going to go back to it, but it's a thing where I'm definitely glad that I checked it out. Manifest. Thanks, Robert. Manifest is what we're talking about. The crew manifest. There we go.
Yeah.
You have that, and you have this journal that you're pushing together, and I really think that it could definitely be a game for some people. I didn't have the thought process for it. I didn't want to play all the guessing games to match everything and look at the little picture. There's like a picture that you get to see where you get to see whenever you're viewing a scene, you get to then look at who this person is on this big group shot. And I didn't want to remember everybody on this big black and white group shot.
Yeah. Well, again, not having names or context of who they are, like that's a downside. And obviously, you know, small company of one developer. I mean, there's going to be things that are lacking, but at the same time, there's other games that have one developer that are just amazing. Not saying that it's bad, but yeah, maybe it's not everyone's cup of tea. I'm even thinking of games that like, you know, that are a little bit more dated. That again, they still have some type of intrigue or comedy or something to keep you interested. You're thinking of like piecing those things together reminds me of one of my favorite things in the Assassin's Creed series. I want to say it was Assassin's Creed 2. I may be wrong, but you can find these pieces of Eden is what they're referred to as, and if you collect all of them in the game, then you can watch an entire cinematic that's like 2 minutes long. But if every single piece that you get, it's like a 5-second clip, and you're like, wait, what was that? What is that? What? And spoilers for Assassin's Creed. It's literally two people escaping. Yeah, two people escaping the Garden of Eden, which is actually like created by aliens. And these are like two of the genetically created individuals, ancient aliens style, like leaving the Garden of Eden, and and it was like that was really cool. And this is before like ancient aliens became like a meme and stuff. It was really good. But the rest of the game kept me going to get those pieces. You have to keep me going. Other than you can't just keep giving me slices like that. So, yeah.
So I don't know if you saw that green line that just like was going through my head on the stream.
I did.
I was like, okay.
I did. I had a video feed going on every now and then. We get little artifacts. So. It happens.
I was just like, it just happened to go like right through my head, and I'm like, what am I being shot by here? Like, there's just some kind of laser, like, but it's. I'm glad that we got them both in before the end of March. So I'm playing, like I said, Song of the Deep, which is Insomniac's game that was published by GameStop a few years ago, that I put on my shelf and never touched it. I literally bought it because it was Insomniac. I just wasn't in the mood for a Metroidvania at the time, so I jumped into that last night. So I'll be talking about that more here in a couple weeks. What are you getting to in April?
I'm getting to Wolfenstein 2: New Colossus. And I'm very excited about that because I love Wolfenstein. I will say I did like was it 2007, 2008 PS3 Wolfenstein? Like, I absolutely love that, but I think that the new Wolfenstein direction that they're doing is fantastic. So,
have you started it yet?
Have not.
That's Wolfenstein 2, right?
Wolfenstein 2,
the New Colossus. So
2017.
If you don't mind pivoting, I have, only because I already started mine, otherwise I would pivot.
Okay.
I have that on my list for, I'm trying to find my list right now. Stalling.
Oh, you got that later on this. I can swap. I can totally swap.
I have that in June, so I can even play it next month if you want to do it like that next month instead.
No, it's okay. I can do it in June. I can swap that for The Evil Within 2, also 2017, by the way.
There you go.
So I'll swap that for Evil Within because, it's funny enough, I was about to replay Resident Evil as well, and these are both first-person survival horror. But that I'll push that aside just a little bit and play some Evil Within 2. I'm excited.
I think that's literally like the only game that me and you have on the same list. Like I don't think you have Hollow Knight on yours.
I don't know.
Yeah, so I think that's the only one where we'll match up, and so I put that in there in the summer just because I figured not much would be coming out. That turned out to not be true. I think we're getting some Nintendo game, I think, in June, but now I can't recall what it is.
I can't remember.
Yeah, but anyways, instead of buying new games, no, keep buying new games. Do whatever you want, but play those old games with us too. So hopefully you guys have been enjoying this little bit. I've been loving it. I've been playing other stuff that I'm not talking about. I'll probably talk about them when I come back from my vacation because I am going to be taking my Vita and playing some of these 97 games.
You bring your Backbone and see if it'll work on the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I'm going to test out their Wi-Fi if it's fast enough, but I'm also going to try, just my LTE and just to see what that. I haven't done that yet either. I know that I could just do that at home, but why not?
Yeah, it's a good time to try it. Well, hope you guys are having fun. Hope you're going through your backlog. Let us know what you're playing in the comments, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.